Greetings, everyone. Today is that day when we talk about one of the most bright, unpredictable, and key characters whose motives and actions have always been famous for his ambiguity and caused the people of the colony the spectrums of different emotions and feelings. As it's known, Xardas is a very powerful sorcerer and necromancer who has learned the depths of dark magic. But before leaning towards the powers of Beliar, he was also one of the supreme fire mages entrusted with the ceremony of erecting a barrier over the Valley of Mines. After that, he decided to break all ties with the residents in the colony so he could start practicing the dark arts in peace and learn the reasons for the barrier expanding the way it did. Leaving the Circle of Fire, located in the old camp, he later discovered that an archdemon called the Sleeper is behind the reason for everything that has happened and was called with the sole purpose of destroying the human race. Realizing this, Xardas came about his own plan with his own personal ambitions, which are not entirely understood. But with this video, you will finally understand the destiny of Xardas as it should have been during the earliest concept of the plot in Gothic in 1999. You will find out the origins of this key character and what should have happened, so do stick around. Let us start with the main history and the appearance of the character in the game. The idea of the magician with gloomy, well-remembered style in dark robes and the Saruman-resembling tower came from Mike Hoge as soon as he started painting the first version of the map for the early concept of the game. A yet unnamed character Xardas was invented by Piranha in the year 1996, and it existed an entire year before Piranha Bytes was even founded. In one of the structured design documents, there is an article about a demon concept guild, which seemed worthy of attention from all the information given on the screen, but it didn't pass on and the rest is somewhat unfamiliar according to the actual release version. So what is the motive of this guild? It was to try and summon the archdemon out of a demonic dimension and control the world with it. But let's leave this moment and move on to the further history of development by Piranha Bytes in 1997. A document that consists the basic information about the guilds in the colony. Among those, there are a few lines about a dark magician within his tower. We don't have enough fundamentally new information on this, but we can get a couple of interesting facts that are worth turning our attention to. First is about the tower being on the ledge of a mountain, which we already know. Second, on the way to this tower are dangerous beasts that the magician summoned himself. And third, an especially interesting thing about the tower was having a hidden passage beneath. Where exactly it was supposed to be is hard to say, but it's assumed to have been going through the dungeons because such were the designing structure characteristics of the company, as they were used more than once in the other places. Let's take a closer look and consider the possibilities of what information this guild had to do with the hero himself in the first demo of Gothic from February 1998. The Baron said, "Our magicians can't just go to the Dark Magician's Tower and learn something from it." The mercenaries of the old camp said, "The tower on the cliff is a nasty place, but a good example of courage for those there passing by." One of the shadows said, "I've heard there's an open access to the Dark Magician's Tower." The miners said, "Avoid the tower in the southeast, as there is a powerful mage who will gladly impose his summoned demons on others." The fire magician said, "The tower on the cliff is a great symbol of demonic magic." The Masters Guild said, "Who wishes to enter the Dark Magician's Tower must be of strong mind. The water magician said, only experienced magicians should visit the tower. The guards of the new camp said, nobody can get me in this tower on the cliffs unless I'm tired of living. The thieves said, one day I looked around the dark magician's tower, but it was pretty deceiving. The gurus said, stay away from the dark magician as he is evil and dangerous. The swamp guard said, the sleeper will take the dark magician from the tower on the cliff. And so the information of the dark magician was moving forward. In the autumn of 1998, 3 months after joining the studio, Ralf Marcinchik had based a new concept art, and so the design of the character and his tower was formed. Here we can see the similarities of the tower and their necromancer outfit before their long-awaited implementation into the game. In summer of 1999, a year after new names of NPCs were added to the project concept named Phoenix, including for one mage representative of the Dark Magicians Guild. At that moment, Xardas was officially created. Presumably, in that time, the Project Phoenix also contained documents about his written biography and features about his personality. However, this information is still yet unavailable for the fan community. In the same month, a variation of the Dark Magician's robe was already in the game itself. As you can see yourself, the clothes of Xardas were added in the version 0.64, and by the time the demo version of 0.66 was made, the first edition of the tower was implemented for a rather short time and was replaced at the beginning of the year 2000 by the one we know today. Some time goes by when a 2D designer, Uwe Meiner, finally transformed Ralf's sketches into reality. He constructed the first version of the character, who was preserved till the release of the game. From this point on, all other background plot or otherwise related information about Xardas were known, with the exception of a few dialogues and armor made of ore being applied to the final version of the game. The role of Xardas in the plot in 1999. It is immediately worth mentioning that the entire story that you'll hear was not fully built by Piranha Bytes, but only a reconstruction based on available facts that can be seen from sources such as the table plots from 1999. From the documents about a mission and the answer of the scriptwriters on Blackboard data, in interviews and personal replies, a fact still remained. Xardas should have died, as it was confirmed by the track records that were published by the company before the game was even released in summer of 2000. A year later, this idea was abandoned after reviewing both the structure of the levels and the plot of the game as a whole. Now, after all the details were done, and we go to the very essence of the time of development, when Xardas did not even have a name, but the plot concept already assumed the involvement of a demon caster in the main plot of the game. When exactly was he supposed to cross paths with the main character for the first time is unknown, but we can say for sure that it could already happen in the first 2 chapters of the game, because according to the old plot, Xardas was even present in the old camp for some time as the supreme magician of the Circle of Fire. In the end, it went so far that he called a demon right in the middle of the castle, thereby creating total chaos among the inhabitants of the camp. This event was the last straw of patience for both the barons and for the fellow fire magicians. Soon after, one of the shadows was allegedly hired by someone from above, who decided to make an attempt to kill Xardas. However, it ended in failure as Xardas brutally dealt with this person, crossing all permissible boundaries. For the murder of Gomez's men, and also for all his inconveniences brought to the population of the camp, Xardas was expelled outside the castle wall, which resulted the need for him to find a new place of residence where he wouldn't make problems for anyone. So he chose a place on a cliff that was located in the south of the colony, where he built himself a tower for the time that he had to wait for the nameless hero until chapter 5, because in this version of the plot, Xardas' help in terms of new camp was not required, since the fire mages themselves did not become victims of Gomez's strife. Our demon caster managed to conduct countless experiments in the field of dark magic, thereby successfully developing his magic skill. In between, he also traveled around the colony, and during this time, he found out the reasons for the growth of the barrier. Having taken possession of the information that the orcs either had stone tablets and a pillar of knowledge in their underground city, to make his own plan of action, grasping the idea to take possession of the sleeper's mind. Xardas decided to start paving the way to the Archdemon's temple. However, all his attempts were in vain, since the only road to the temple of the sleeper was blocked by a portal located in the underground city, which he could not get through alone, even with the help of a couple summoned creatures to deal with all the orcs. So, he decided to return to his tower and began to wait patiently for a suitable opportunity to revisit the temple. And this opportunity really approached him at the end of the 4th chapter, when he witnessed the orcs' invasion. As a result of the portal being opened as prescribed in the design documents made by the devs, Angar himself had become the supreme guru by this moment, since both Eberron and Cor Kalom were already dead after checking the first levels of the temple. Finding there was a new obstacle in form of a magically sealed gate, he finally decides to meet with the main character and begins to assure him in every possible way of his good intentions to expel evil from this world while hiding his true motive of controlling the sleeper. Ultimately, the hero listens to him, and from that very moment he becomes his puppet and starting to act on his orders after removing Angar's protective magic seal from the passage to the second part of the temple. The hero and Xardas break deep into the premises of the temple, finding a sword and the ore armor there, making their way further and further through the crowds of undead demons. They also did away with all those who were in the way, including Angar's people, penetrating into the last corridor where they finished off the rest of the surviving Templars and novices, including Angar himself. Immediately after that, a new dialogue starts between the hero and the Dark Mage. Xardas begins to lay out the whole truth about his plan on the hero, trying to persuade him to take his side in every possible way and convince him that they together, with the help of the demon, will be able to stop the war between men and the orcs. His attempts end in failure, as the hero wants to vanquish the sleeper's stirs quickly and send him back to the demonic dimension. Refusing Xardas' plan, and eventually entering in a battle with him, Xardas takes the fall and dies. And as you can see, the death of the Dark Magician was indeed planned at the very early stage of development of Gothic. According to the company's idea, for the game finale, there would be a possibility to provide 2 entirely different endings, but how exactly would they have been done to continue the Gothic sequel is unknown. But at least we now clearly see where such ideas came from. The origins of this content was made by the alpha researcher, so please go check his channel, and thank you so much for watching this video.